Well, thanks for taking your time to actually see us, join us today. As I say, this is another virtual event from KKLT, and I want to first tell you that we're going to be streaming live. We are streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. So wherever you are, sit back and relax and enjoy, because we have a lot to unpack in this actually episode. So the main topic of today is the power of connections. What does connections mean? Why do we need to connect? What is it about connections? So we have two brilliant ladies that have been through this journey of connections, understand it to the core, and want to share their wisdom with us. KKLT has been here for you and will continue being here for you for whatever time that we can get. One, why is KKLT even here? What is KKLT? KKLT is a beautiful organization that has amazing people at heart. Honestly, the people that I have met through KKLT have made my life so different. Sometimes I think back and I'm like, I've actually made good friends just because of KKLT. It was founded a few years ago just because of through the loss of our brother Kevin Kararwa, who died through because of leukemia. He couldn't find a match, and we decided it's going to be our journey to advocate for people to register on the donor registry, because you can save someone, you can save someone's life somewhere just by being a hero, being a donor. And that has been our MO for, and it's going to continue being our MO, and until I guess we all die. But we want to do that and give other people a chance for that. But today, as I say, we want to unpack connections. Why do we need connections? We've heard of people who have been isolated, either isolated, they're in depression, people that don't know, you've heard of those stories of so and so died in the house and was found 10 days later. They didn't even know that person. Even a neighbor to come and knock at your door and say, hello, hi Jane, how are you doing? But it's so difficult in our day to day, in today's age. You don't know your neighbor. To be honest, I rarely speak to my neighbor, but I'll just say hello and that's it. But that has become our norm now. But then our guests are going to explain to us more on this. But it saddens me because I live in Leicester. I've been in Leicester for the last 10 years, and every single year this has been a norm. You hear someone, oh, did you hear this and this person went to hospital by themselves? Or they couldn't, there was no one to sign their papers for them as next of kin. Or we start looking on our WhatsApp groups, do you know this person? I'm sure you guys have seen this message, do you know this person? And he has to go around asking, oh, this person was a student here, they didn't connect to anyone, they don't know, no one knows even they exist. But then something tragic happens to them, and then we as the community start coming together to help out. And we want to change the norm of that. We want to change how we think on terms of connections and how we're supposed to handle the community at large. So as I said, we're going to continue on this journey together. And I want to take you back, and I might be going back and forth, but I want to take you back to the reason why KKLT was formed, because there's so many people that came together and said, you know what, let's do this. We are here to advocate for this. Yeah. And we want this is going to be our mission. Persuading people to join the register, but you can't do that if you're by yourself. You can't do that if you're just in the house by yourself, not doing anything. You have to get out, you have to do this, you have to do that. And that's where the root of the organization comes in. So as KKLT, we always almost always, every week, I think I tell people this: if you're not on the donor registry, there's something you're doing wrong. And I want my co-host Ian to play us a video that shows us how we can register to be on the donor registry. To be honest, it's the most amazing gift you can give to anyone. So when Ian, you're ready, play us that video that will tell people how to register and be part of our team. As you can see, it's a simple process and it doesn't hurt. Mm-hmm. Oh, we usually say heroes are not just celebrities. You sitting at home or driving in your car or wherever you are, you can be a hero. And we're looking for people like you. We're looking for volunteers, we're looking for donors, people that can just be can just join us, join our family, because we are loving people and we want, the more the merrier, the more people that can be on that donor registry. In fact, I had a friend of mine was looking for a match and he was told, I remember at that time, the consultant at that time said, you can imagine, you as an ethnic person will need, in a stadium, in a football stadium, you might, everyone there can be swabbed and you might even, there's a high chance you will even miss a match. So you can imagine a football field that has over 20,000 people and every person being swabbed and checked. So we usually say the more people that are on the register help. You can have, out of 1 million, one person can be your donor. So you that is sitting there and is not a donor, is not on the donor register, please, as we continue, look up those details. All our details are on our website at kklt.org. Find it there. We're on all our social medias, on Facebook. If you're watching us on Facebook, hello. And also, you can also ask us questions in the chat. So one of us is looking out for that, is actually looking out for those questions. We will be happy to have you. Right, the moment I have been excited to get to, we have two amazing ladies. We have the co-founder of KKLT, and we have one of the most amazing people that I've ever met, Veronica Kararwa. She's been a pillar to this organization and to my life as well, and she has selflessly given her life to KKLT. It's been her baby, it's been her everything. And I want to welcome her to the panel to say hello before I introduce the next person. Veronica.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Veronica Kararwa, founder of Kevin Kararwa Leukemia Trust. Mine is just to thank you, Jane, for inviting me, and mine is to thank you and to thank everyone who is listening to us on Facebook or even on this panel. Welcome, and let us share this journey together and share our experiences and as Jane said, our wisdom. But also let us not forget about KKLT and what we are here for. KKLT, as Jane has clearly said, is about saving lives. Anyone can be a hero, anyone, and all you need to do is to take that swab. So we are encouraging people even during this COVID. It does not mean that people are not getting diagnosed with leukemia. They continue to be diagnosed with leukemia, and more than ever, they need your help. So if you haven't registered to be a donor, kindly please do. And at the end of this event, we'll put on the registration process and how to register to become a stem cell donor. Thank you very much, Jane.
Thank you, Veronica, for that. That sound that you and that face that you can see, as I say, has selflessly given her life to KKLT. She is an amazing mental health professional as well, and she's a coach, and she has done so much for this community. Also, look out for stuff on Veronica, because she does so much. As I say, she's a coach, she's a mental health profession, and now she connected me to another lady, amazing lady. Her name is Cecily Mwaniki. Oh my God. You know those people that are jam-packed, eh? They're those people that when they start unfolding, they're like a little flower that continues growing and growing and growing. This amazing woman is, I think I should just call her phenomenal. She has won awards, you know, those African Books Awards. She has been Woman of the Year volunteer. She has created her own organization called Utulivu. She has worked with women aids. She's very much pro women. You know, she's not a feminist, but she's very pro women. She loves everything about women, and she loves empowering you. She has a few books. A few is an understatement. She has been writing since last decade. You know, when you look back, you look at her, she has so many. She's a mother, she's a loving mother and a wife, and today she's here to share her wisdom on power of connection. Cecily, Mwaniki, join me and say hello to the people.
Wow, Jen,
yes.
I hope I'll fill those shoes. I mean, thank you for the very kind ones, and I hope I'll meet your expectations.
You deserve it, because you are.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's just nice to be here. I take my hat off to Veronica and KKLT team, because you clearly have demonstrated that it takes sadness to know happiness. The happiness we celebrate today, you know, the life of Kevin, we will live forever. So it took sadness, but we are celebrating the happiness.
Yes.
Really, it's through the power of connections that I met lovely people through in the name of Veronica, and I've gone on to meet others. And you know, the journey is not done yet.
No,
I know we've not even gone up with Veronica. Yeah, so that's me.
Thank you for the being simple and short. So I want us to start talking about power of connections. Cecily, what is these connections we're talking about?
Wow, that's again, it's a very simple yet very, very powerful question to ask. And I base it on the fact that a man is not an island. Man is actually a social being. And it is when you find yourself alone, then you realize you're not living up to that humanity that is purposed to be. So the power of connections will mean everything. The complexities of it will be broken down to a point where you actually manage your well-being in ways that are expectant and are noble and really needed. And when we talk of well-being, we are talking the holistic, you know, the whole person. You're talking about business, you're talking about education, you're talking about healthy family relationships, you're talking about career progression. It's everything. It is that holistic. So it is everything.
It sounds like there's a lot to unpack. So why the interest? Why the interest of helping people with their well-being?
It's because without all those components, then your humanity is questionable. It's challenged. So it is important you look at it from a well-being point of view. Then that way you meet the needs, not only for other people but for you as too.
So what you mean is the connections that we make don't not only impact us, also impacts the people around us.
That's right. They serve us as well as serving others. And this is why, I mean, somebody's, the WhatsApp text messages, I love them, especially when I wake up to some of them. There is this one I've woken up to a few times that says, you cannot write a candle and not write, put right to yourself. Yeah. So that is to say, if you don't light a candle for yourself, I mean, for somebody else, you won't have light yourself.
That's very interesting. I want to bring Veronica in and ask, Veronica, what does connections mean to you?
Well, connections, I'd probably repeat what Cecily has said, that no man is an island, and you cannot live on your own. We need each other. And I think there is also a saying that says that it is because you are that I am. That means you can't live on your own. We need our family. We need our friends. We need our community. We need each other as human beings. As Cecily have said, is the humanity thing. Otherwise, if a human being if a human being does not mix with another human being, surely something will go wrong. Your well-being will not be whole. So we need each other, as Cecily have said, in every aspect of our lives. Whether it's even when we are growing up, we need our parents and our brothers and sisters and people around us. Even as we go for career, we need other people. Whatever we are, every step of our way in our lives, we need other people. You cannot do it on your own. And I know we have the connections also is also a source of wealth, because you cannot in spite of the wealth of having people around you, even in terms of building up wealth, in terms of material wealth or physical health wealth, because wealth it comes under so many umbrellas. We need each other to build that. And I know there is a saying back home that says people are wealth. So if you detach yourself from other people, I think we call it in Kikuyu, and of course I know there were people who don't understand Kikuyu, it just says adonaido. So you cannot do on your own. You might think that you are self-sufficient, but somehow, somewhere, you will need someone. Even if you're a millionaire, even if you have so much money, I always tell people, if you got unwell today, money itself cannot go and get you a cup of tea or a glass of water. Or money cannot by itself lift you up from the ground or whatever needs done. Although that money can work for you, you still need a human being who you don't have to pay to do what you need done. So really and truly, we cannot say that we don't need connections as human beings. So we need them like air, like the air we breathe.
That's true. That's true. Thanks for that, Veronica. Cecily, I'm going to ask you this question because we're talking about connections, but then we have this other side of community. So what's the difference? When you say, oh, I'm part of a community, I am part of the Leukemia Society, I am part of the Kenyan Society. Is that me building connections? So what's the difference?
The way I look at it is that through connections, you build communities. Yeah.
Okay.
And we know is a community is a set of, a group of people coming together with common interest and really trying to meet a common goal.
Yes.
And so through connections, then you're able to identify who fits into what you are doing. Yeah. I think that is the narrow or the shallow definition I can give to it, but it's through connections that you build communities. Now think of connections as being the relationships that you build with others. Yeah.
Okay.
We know that, best of the businesses are built on healthy relationships. And if those relationships are not well catered for, then they will fall. So when we talk of connections, we are talking of like people coming together and forming those communities that are needed in different parts.
Okay,
so that means you can be a member of different communities.
That's true. Yeah, virtually and physically.
Yeah.
Right. So that said, can you please explain to us the levels of connections? Explain that you had mentioned them previously, but now explain to us the different levels of connection. Yeah.
So, I've just mentioned that different relationships or connections will build different communities. Now,
yes.
We know we have all gone through this education system. Now, most of us here will know that in your secondary school, you have connections that perhaps may not fit into the connections that you have today, yet they are still part of your connections. Yeah. Then we talk of business.
Yes.
Businesses. We know that businesses, people who are into business will meet at different times at different places. There will be a different community to that of the education community that you belong to. And it's about having that understanding and knowing that knowing who to connect with for what. For example, I'll give an example of my connections with Veronica. We met in a very, very interesting but very, very powerful way. And didn't realize that my children, one of my daughters, had actually known as sons through, Kevin at the time, whom they were supporting. And as soon as she mentioned her name, I connected. And since then, we came together and we have kind of built a community in itself. So you see, that's a level of community in itself. Yes. So through that, we have a language that we speak that will be different from the one I speak with my, the people I've gone to school with.
That's true.
Yes. And I think based on our ambitions and, things that we are curious about, we get into business sometimes in the late night. So that's another. So we move from one community to another.
So what I'm hearing you say is that there's a personal level, there's a business level, there's a community level of connection.
That's right.
So it's for you to choose, as you say, you can go through all the levels with one person or with one group.
Yes, and that is why you hear people say, well, today I'm wearing this hat. Because I'm in this community. So you wear different hats depending on where you are.
That's very true. I remember my granddad used to tell us, as Veronica was saying earlier, people are wealth. He would be invited to someone's do somewhere, and he'll say, hey, today I am wearing the chairman's hat. So he would go representing, say, the men fellowship, or he would go representing the Gedongori area or people. So, and it was very clear to us that he is very involved because he wants to be part of those communities. So now, Veronica, I want you to give us a bit of an insight. How during the whole Kevin Kararwa journey, from the time he was ill till now, how has connections impacted you personally?
Before I got to that, thank you very much, Jane. I think before I got to that, I just wanted to add something about the different levels of community, and also I think what Cecily says is true. But if you look at our community, or if you look at yourself, you could be belonging to different communities.
That's
you
true.
Could sometimes identify yourself as, you belong to Kenyan community. Live in Leicester, you can say you belong to the Leicester, there is the Leicester community. Then you could be your colleagues at work, then you belong to that particular community. You could be a member of a professional group, you could belong to that professional group, it's also a community.
Yes.
So you, as a human being, you cannot live without belonging somewhere. And when you first started talking about our community and how we've been hearing stories, and especially even now during COVID, people being found dead in the house, with nobody knowing and nobody even, the first question you're asking yourself, are these people not connected to someone? Don't they have a friend? Don't they have a colleague that they work with, that they have made connections? Don't they have family that they keep in touch? Don't they have, or either a boyfriend or whatever, you just ask these questions to yourself, and you're wondering, how can you live a life where you're not connected with anyone who would know that you're missing for a day or two, let alone 3 days or a week. And I remember there was a story we had about this lady who died in her house, and I think she was in the news, and then they had to correct, they found just bones, meaning she died. It's really, when I heard about that, I couldn't believe that somebody would go to an extent of isolating themselves. Then they go to a point of where they die. They're not even found. They even decompose. And then you're finding,
bones, skeleton.
Bones. Even neighbors. That is scary when you hear that even somebody has not connected with the door neighbor who can't notice that they haven't seen you come in or out for the last 2 days or 3 days. So we cannot live like that. And I think that is the most important thing we want to pass the message during this program, is that we cannot live like that. And we want to encourage people that connect with someone. I know when I've been bringing up my kids, when they go out, I tell them, I'm not telling you, I'm not policing you where you go or even what you're doing. But all I want to know is, where are you? Are you safe? Are you okay? Because the stories I've had is that your family would know what to do if you didn't probably even answer your phone, if within half a day or in a day. They'll know this is not like Veronica. So there must be something wrong with Veronica. We have to have a way where we connect with our family, we connect with our neighbors, we connect with our community, so that if anything happens to you, somebody somewhere will be able to say, hang on a minute, I haven't heard from Veronica for the last 1 day or two. Or because, and I always tell my children that sometimes if you are a person of, a creature of habit, whereby you always tell your family where you are, you call regularly and all that. If you don't call, they are already alerted, and they can go to the police with confidence that we are missing our loved ones. And they will be able to tell the police, look, this is not completely like Veronica. She has not called. She doesn't take 3 or 4 hours before she calls, and she hasn't called for the last 1 day. So people can start searching for you, looking for you at an early stage, because if you are that person who doesn't connect with people in any way, people don't know where you are. You don't have a close friend who actually knows or should know where you are. It really becomes very risky, because tomorrow, even if you had an accident somewhere, you could actually not be found, because people would say, oh, that's Veronica for you. She never connects, and she never talks to anyone, and she never calls anyone. So, so by the time it takes a month, that's when people are realizing, what's happening to Veronica? So we need, as a community and as individuals, I think the most important message we want to pass here is connect with someone, and also to bring the whole holistic thing of how important are connections from a personal level, family level, community level, even on national level. We need to connect. Yeah. So that's the point I wanted to drive home in terms of connection.
Thanks. Thanks
For
that.
me and my personal experience, one of the things I'd like to say is I've also noticed within our community that people are afraid to say when they're unwell. They don't want to share that, oh, Veronica, I haven't been feeling well for the last 2 days. So people are, I've heard about people going to hospital and nobody knows that they're in hospital. Nobody, as you say, they don't have a next of kin who can get people together. For one, we don't know whether they are afraid to be found that they are unwell. I don't know whether there is shame in that, or they are guilty, or it's pride, or it's just pure foolishness.
I'll say hold on to that thought, because that was going to come a bit later. But first, answer us how this impacted you personally. How did having a community, a connections around you, how did this impact you through your journey?
Yeah, and that's where I was going. That what I have found is that for me, when Kevin was diagnosed, I was okay to tell people and to tell my friends what was happening. I didn't see any reason why I couldn't share, because I didn't ask for that illness. I didn't go looking for it. It happened, and nobody wants to get sick. So when I informed my friends, and then they informed other friends, I belong to different communities. And what I know is that they came together, and the support system that I got through that journey was phenomenal. I mean, although the journey was so difficult and very painful, I could say that part of the misery and painfulness was relieved because of the support system that I got. In other words, at least my friends could do the practical things, and I could be left to mourn or to go through the pain that I was going. I remember there was a lady who used to come all the way from Milton Keynes to bring chapatis, bring food. Other people would do this, and all that coming together. I felt a member of the community. I felt loved, and it really kind of gave me strength to be able to bear the pain I was going through. So in other words, within my journey, I know the power of connections, and I know how important it is.
Well, you mentioned something. You said, is it that people are ashamed to share their problems? Is it that people have fear? I will say one thing through my just looking into these things. I have noticed that some people do not belong to these communities, or they come to you when things have really, really gone bad. So these people, they say, I was going to ask this to Cecily as well. In fact, both of you, you find I belong to this Kenyan community. I belong to the Leicester community, but I don't take part. People know me. They know that I belong, but they don't see me at all. They don't see any work that I do. I don't show up to anybody's do. But then when I get sick, or when something happens to me, I start running to Veronica. I start running to Cecily. Oh, this is happening. At that point, don't you think it will be a shame? You all of a sudden, you want help, but you don't help others. You don't contribute to others' well-being. So can you both answer this? Starting with you, Veronica, since I've got you here.
That's a very, very important point, Jane, that you have raised. Connections, it does not, when we talk about connections, it does not just mean getting known by people. It does not mean because, people see you around. Yeah, connections goes deeper than that.
Yes.
It goes deeper in knowing other people. And when I also say knowing other people, is really getting time to know those people who are around you. When I mean like getting connected with your neighbor, it's not just saying hi, because that's not meaningful. So you want to build a relationship, you want to be able to talk to them and take interest in what they do. So even when you come to our community, whether it's a Kenyan community, as you say, whether it's in Leicester community, whatever, you need to take part. Because usually even the Bible says that, you give and you get. If you don't give, you don't get. So when you're doing those connections, it's not a matter of just being present or just people seeing you. It's about participating. It's about being involved. It's about knowing people. It's about building relationships. It's about being there for other people. It's about getting yourself known. And I know Cecily talked about, Cecily talked about getting to know, making, what do you call, connecting, where you know what you need and you have a goal. But even when you don't even have a goal, it's that humanity thing, that human kind of connection, getting to know another person and getting to know them meaningfully. So, and I think you don't expect that you don't play a role in the community, you don't help out, people know you, but they don't know what you do, so obviously you don't expect people to come learning, when you need them. So you also want to do to others what you would want them to do to you. I think that's where I would leave it. Yeah.
Cecily, let's hear your side of the story.
And it's exactly that. It's really about having meaningful connections. And that meaningfulness will depend on what is going on in every community that you are linked with. And we find that really it's all about respect. And all about being brave and feeling safe. And to me, that is what I call meaningful connections.
What do you mean by respect?
It is about, to whatever community you are connected with, be respectful. And that is it goes to say, so what you expect from them, give it. Be that change, I always have this mantra on being the change that you seek.
That's true.
So don't expect to be respected, or rather to get from the community what you don't give.
Yes.
To me, that is not respect.
Okay. Go on.
It goes even beyond the practical things that we get, for example, parties, weddings, and so many funerals that are usually very, very common. It also goes to when you're looking for jobs.
Yeah.
Most of the time you'll find that you will get people asking for your reference because they feel perhaps the work that you do really meets the conditions that are being expected of where you're looking for the job. So they want to connect. That relationship needs to be alive. Other than just saying, well, I belong to Kararwa Trust, Kevin Kararwa Trust, and we do A, B, C, D, and for that reason, I'll be in a position to do what you are asking for. So it goes beyond the practical needs and support that we have, but also the relationships, or rather the impact that has, the name that you carry with that wherever you are.
Okay, thanks, ladies. I'm also going to ask you another question for both of you. Now, we've spoken about building connection and sort of to help us during this journey. During COVID, we had so much mental health cases because people are isolated. People are suffering anxiety and depression. People don't know who to turn to. But now, how will connections, or how has connections impacted our mental health in good and bad ways? So I want you to expound on how it's resulted, how lack of it has resulted to all this isolation and blah blah blah. But then when we have all these connections, how has it positively impacted on us? So I'll start with you, Cecily, since I've got you here.
Yeah, I mean, with the COVID experience, we all started by saying, oh, we are all in it together.
Yes.
And I remember every WhatsApp message we got, the last statement was, we are all in it together. And really, that kind of explained the kind of community you are in. So in that respect, I would say people who are already connected became even more stronger. Or very closely connected, and they tended to look after each other. On the other hand, we know that at the start of the COVID, there was some stigma to it. And we find that, we found that people were not coming out open to say they had been affected. And I think Veronica alluded to that, not opening up to what we are experiencing. And that kind of tended to isolate people. So I would say in that way, the impact was bad on their mental health.
Okay.
And those who really came into terms with it were open, and they entertain or they encourage the conversations that we have continued to have to normalize those conversations. And really the statement, we are all in it together, then was relevant.
That's true. That's very true. I found that most people started having Zoom family meetings. The people that had never spoken for years started having family meetings every month, every Sunday. And it sort of, as you say, brought people together. People were able to see each other, even if it's as if COVID came and opened people's eyes. It's as if these things existed. We had Skype, we had all these things, but people never used it. Used them before. All of a sudden, as you say, it strengthened some relationships, which I find it quite interesting. But on the other hand, Veronica, this is to you as a mental health practitioner. What do you think? How has lack of connections and having connections impacted our daily lives?
Oh, with COVID, the stories I hear, one as a mental health practitioner, as well as a member of the community. So people have really been affected in terms of, in so many ways. So within the isolation where people have found themselves staying at home, not going anywhere due to lockdown, that has actually affected people's mental well-being. Due to the isolation. And of course, isolation is one of the causes of mental health. There is also other issues, not only isolation. People have lost their jobs, people have lost their businesses, there are some people who've lost their relationships. There are people who've been stressed. I mean, I've been working with families, with children and adolescents families, and there are some mothers who are really kind of stressed because kids are at home and they cannot manage them. So there are so many things that have actually stressed people during this COVID and have affected people's mental well-being. You cannot believe, because obviously we are living in abnormal times. People are trying to adapt. There are other people who are quite rigid. They've been finding it very hard to adapt. And of course, you can imagine if you have lost your job and you can't provide for your family, that is an extra stress. So the mental health, really, we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg in terms of the mental health breakdown that the country is going to experience, because this is the second year and it looks like it is continuous. So hopefully the vaccine is going to help, people kind of feel like there is hope out there, because even though we have had this virtual, which is great because at least it has helped. I don't know what we would have done if there was no technology, thank God. But even with this technology, the human need another human being aspect, that closeness, which has also been missing. So, but what we've been telling people is during this time is connect with people like the way we are connecting, join some, peer group or communities. Avoid watching news all the time, because if you watch news all the time, remember for me, news are just like doom and gloom. The last thing you want to do is to add your misery to listening to sad stories all the time. So many people have died, this and this and that, because they never report anything good. So avoid listening to news that you know very well that they are going to add to your misery. I mean, you can I've been advising people, you can listen to news like twice a day, like in the morning and in the evening. But don't keep on going to another channel. It's like you're looking for something. You're gonna increase your mental, instability. You have to look after yourself. You have to know yourself so very well so that you know how to cope with these difficult times. So it's really kind of also listening to good stuff, positive stuff, You know, be careful of what you're listening on a daily basis. Be careful of what you're talking on a daily basis. People who are encouraging, go for walks, you know, listen to good music. Just do things that will really kind of uplift you rather than putting you down. And
Veronica,
we've been talking about mental health in this forum, and about the skills and, you know, strategies and coping skills that people can adapt and connect. One of the things is connect in all levels, connect virtually, connect whichever way you need to connect, but please do via phone. Please do connect. It's very, very important. Hear stories about what other people are going through. Remember, people have lost their loved ones during these difficult times. So there are people who are really kind of going through grieving period. So it's really about that connection so that they don't feel lonely and alone during this COVID system. So connection is the key, to be honest with you. So
thank you for that.
Also, before we leave that, we cannot ignore the impact that it has had on the domestic abuse. We know the statistics are skyrocketing, and the impact that has had on children huge. So you're talking of the mental health of young people, you know, the parents, of course, but also think about the education, you know, the homeschooling.
Yes,
has been something else, and the well-being of the young people has been challenged. And really, in all this, what has helped is the connections that people have had
before.
Yes, and how they have been able to really link up in the Zoom meetings. If I didn't have, or rather, if one doesn't have or didn't have good connections, there is no way they are going to know there is a Zoom going somewhere. And that way they get isolated even more.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I must admit, Veronica, actually, this is a prop for KKLT as per this point. There's some people that have contacted me personally and just said, I look forward to your virtual events because I have something to look forward to. And that actually warms my heart because I know there are people out there that are looking for us to share and spread this information, because we both know that we've been contacted. People are still getting ill. People are still suffering from leukemia. People are still getting cancer, and it's been amazing just knowing that we've touched someone's life by just us talking like this. This person is in our community, even if we don't know. And it's amazing. So that's why when we have these organizations, I mean, Cecily, you're doing a beautiful job with Utulivu. So I can imagine the same thing has happened. The connection, as you say, when you throw out a Zoom meeting and a virtual event, people are attending because they're finding something to look forward to, which is quite amazing. Isn't it, ladies?
Yeah,
very, very true. I mean, Veronica did attend the Health Equalities Conference last week. We know the inequalities that have been brought up by or rather, they have been there, but they have been by the COVID experience. But the fact that you know, the people, the policymakers could find their way to that platform was a big way of really making that difference in our communities, but also in ourselves. So making use of the connections that we have to make to be the change that we are all looking for is quite important.
That's very true. Now,
and just to add on that, Cecily, is that I was really impressed with that conference because, you know, because of the people who you had brought in, the policymakers, as we call them, just to hear stories of what is happening in the community, because sometimes they can be quite detached in terms of what people in the grassroots communities are experiencing and going through. Because we all know that, you know, when people are up there, they can live in their own world. But actually down here, we're struggling with the real thing. So that was very, very helpful. And I think for me, connecting with Cecily has been very, very, very helpful, both for me as a person, as KKLT, you know, and also what I've really gathered, because Cecily is really, really a community hero back in Reading. She has really connected so many communities together with the Berkshire NHS and the council. And I really admire that. It's, and I think that's what we also need to be able to do as a people. Like, and I've also even been telling my son, like, when we live in this area, we need to know who is our councillor,
yes,
who is our MP, what is happening within the community. Let us get engaged. Let us not just kind of get into that we are Kenyan community or we are a Leicester community, like what I meant about, because sometimes as a people, we can really kind of come together as, we are Kenyan or we are Ugandan or we are East Africans or we are Africans. But are we getting involved within the communities that we live?
Exactly.
And I think that is very, very important, that we need to get our people to get connected within the communities that they live in. If it's a certain bara, get to know what is happening. And even let us get our young children involved so that they know who are making these policies, our views being heard in terms of how we're experiencing things on the grassroots. So because every time we leave them to make those policies without our involvement, then those policies will never really be able to work for us. So, but we'll always be complaining that, we are being, discriminated, or nobody thinks of us or nobody cares. But are we really getting involved? Are we really even telling our children we need to know so that we can really air our views about what the community is going through and what they are experiencing? I think those connections are very, very important for us to make in our communities, not only as Kenyans, or as Africans or East Africans or whatever, but as wherever you are, from a neighbor point of view, to who is your councillor, who is your MP, what is happening, what are the leaders within your county or within your borough, and then let's get our views heard. And then if they don't hear us, then we can say they haven't heard us.
As Cecily said.
Again, I was just about to say, actually, and that helps us know who is who in the community and who can influence what.
Yes.
And I say this because I noticed James Momo is with us here, and James Momo, being a psychotherapist himself and being African, has known the cultures that we all come from, and because of that, he has delivered sessions within the Zoom that have really helped people in a more practical way. Now, I don't know whether James is still around, but I believe he can hear this. But it's knowing who is in your neighborhood and what it is that they can do. And that's where the power of connections can lead.
Well, I was coming to you, Cecily. So, well, we've talked about this connection. So how do we build them? And how do we act in social family settings, in business setting? How do we build it? Is it just about me coming and asking, Cecily, can I have your number? Or Veronica, what's your email address? What is it? How are we building these connections?
Sorry, Jane, if I may just come in, and I just want to say hello to you all, and particularly the organizers of this beautiful evening. I've really enjoyed listening to you all, particularly Jane and Cecily, and all what you have said. It's been so wonderful. I've just been sitting here admiring you. So there was a time when I took my kids out, and then we kind of went out, and I wanted to know what they actually mean by community or connection. And I said, look at my car and look at the house and look at myself. And I said, among the three items of me, the car and the house, what is an asset? And they were all saying the house, the car, and nobody mentioned me. So, and that's really the mentality we have. We think all these material words are assets, but when you guys were talking about connectivity, human being is worth, that's the asset. And I told them that no, the car is not an asset. This car can disappear, but I can still remain with you. Even when I die, you can still remember the connection you had with me. This house, we can leave this house and go to another house. You can only remember the house, but we can never forget about the connectivity that we had in the house. So when you guys were talking about connectivity, that actually came to mind, that we human beings were assets until we begin to realize that it's not going to be easy for us. That's the reason why some people isolate themselves, because they think that their house is an asset. But if they know that my asset is out there, the people I connect with, people I live with, how I connect with them, the level of my connectivity can bring joy to me tomorrow, even when I'm crying. I think people can understand. So I really want this thing that you guys are talking about. It's really been really like, I admire the way you guys talk about it, the way you present it. I think it's wonderful, and I really want to thank you. So thank you, Cecily, for dragging me into this meeting this evening.
And thank you, James, for bringing that angle in. It's very powerful.
Yes. We don't think of it that way. We really don't. As he said, some people will say, let me stick in my own house. I have created my own heaven in my own house. Let me stay by myself. You people that have done whatever, I don't want to be part of you. Let me just be by myself. But so Cecily, please, thank you so much, James, for that. So Cecily, answer your question now. How do we?
So now the how.
Yes, the how.
You know, the how, the big how. Remember, here we are talking about building your social capital. Yeah.
Yes.
To connect with all that. Yeah. So I think of the how in form of 3 C's. You know, and the 3 C's the 3 C's will answer the respect I talked about, them being brave, being safe. Yeah. And so the 3 C's are about confidence. You know, being confident enough to set yourself out there and achieve what it is you want to achieve through the people that you are linking up with. Yeah. And the other C is about curiosity. Be curious enough to know the person next to you better in terms of what they are offering, what they have offered in the past, and what they are interested in. And of course, the other C is about connectedness, or that connectivity is about having that common interest and really investing in it. So these 3 C's can only be possible or can only be well demonstrated and well lived if you know your purpose, or if you know the change that you're trying to make. For example, if when I met with Veronica, I didn't know why I had gone out, and she didn't know why she had gone to the same meeting, we would not really have connected because we would have had nothing in common. But with the time, we have found that we have more common things than we ever thought. So it's all about building that social capital through through those 3 C's, but based on respect, being brave, and feeling safe.
Cecily, I'll say something. I'll pop in here and say, I have been in some social settings where I feel, oh, okay, these people are going to give me what I want. And say, for instance, I am looking for friendships, or I am looking for career progression, and then I attach myself with these people. This I'm talking from a personal point of view. I attach myself with these people, and then I find that as time goes, I find that their interest and my interest are quite different. And I find that I'm not getting what I thought was sold to me. Because it was, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this course, we're going to teach you to do this, or no, we're going to hang out, we're good friends. You know, when people give you a facade and it's, oh, I'm a good friend, and I make the contact. I give you a call today, I give you a call next week, I give you a call the following week, and then it gets to a point I'm thinking, I think I'm in this by myself. The other person is not interested. So at that point, what do? You've tried. You are trying to build these connections with these people, but you're not getting them results. Do I then jump ship and start again elsewhere?
Well, yeah, and this is where purpose becomes very, very important. Knowing exactly what you want to achieve from that relationship or from those connections. And most of it really, and we know relationships have been challenged
Oh, they are.
Have been destroyed, and
Yes.
So it's really being very much aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what myself and Veronica call emotional intelligence. You
Yeah,
must be
I learned that from you guys today.
you must
Yes.
be emotionally intelligent to
Mhm.
understand or to know how people, the dynamics, people take. And once you understand that, you save yourself from being upset, because when you see the way they behave, instead of picking quarrels, you straight away end yourself out of it, with knowing that you may not need them today, but tomorrow you will need them. Yeah.
But then, can we go back to the people in terms of what of this, say, community-wise, the communities that we said you can easily be a spider, you can easily be in very many people, many communities, same person. But then you get hurt in this community and you decide, I don't want to be part of that community. And we've talked about these people that have apparently built a haven for themselves in their house and decide, I want to isolate, I have been hurt, I don't want to be part of people anymore because they have tried. So what advice would you give to people like that?
Wow. And again, that happens a lot in our communities.
It does.
It's very, very, very common. Yeah. I think I'll go back to that point of being, emotionally intelligent and knowing your purpose. Because if really you are after making a difference or you are after achieving something, it does not matter how much you are hurt until you get it, if you need it so badly. Okay. And I think I have had these conversations with Veronica before, where we have shared how we have been in places where we have felt silly, and really diminished, but we have hung on there because we knew ultimately, things change.
End goal.
Yes, but if we forget the end goal, then we will easily disappear before we have achieved it. And this is where we find that, we didn't get hurt to a point where we become ill. We can't even take in what we get from others. It becomes so hard for us. And I think this is where the power of really getting to know each other and helping each other in such circumstances becomes very, very important. I know you have heard about, you have heard of support groups.
Yes.
Yeah? So, supporting groups are really, really important. And these are groups for people who have, who have the right minds. Yeah. Yes. And they go to discuss such cases where they have been hurt. Yeah. And how do they deal with that? And it becomes very, the burden becomes much lighter when you hear somebody share how they were also hurt and how they came out of that. So again, it goes back to connections. So that shows you can't really live on your own.
That's true. So Veronica, what would you say about, because I know KKLT has been built on a foundation of connections. So can you tell us more about that?
I think it's everything we have really said about, it's about getting to know.
What connections were this that you thought that have become a foundation for KKLT?
Getting to know people.
Yeah.
It's getting to tell your story and also listen to the other people's stories.
So being vulnerable to others.
It's not only being vulnerable. It's really kind of showing that you could say that vulnerability. And I think when you're talking with Cecily, something that came up to mind about the just kind of demystifying the emotional intelligence is that even though we got to make connections with a purpose and knowing what we want, do not ever ignore the human person you're dealing with. So, for example, I know there is this guy, John Maxwell, the leadership guru, talks about if you want to be an influencer or you want to, you need to get to know people. It's not just knowing their names.
Yes.
It's really kind of knowing their names and wanting to know their story. You want to know who they are. You want to know what they have. You want to connect on a deeper level, not just, oh, hi. And then there is no way you can meet with me today. And then you tell me, oh, Veronica, I would want you to do A, B, C, D. I'll be asking you, who are you? You know, and how can I do that? So we need to build that relationship. And that relationship comes with who am I and who you are. And then we connect. The other thing is about doing things for other people, because as we have mentioned that, because you have to build credibility, like, you know, can Jane help me in that? Did she promise that she'll do it this? And she did. So obviously you build that credibility with someone, they get to trust you, and then they, you know, they are in your ship. You know, if you call them tomorrow, there is no way they're going to say no. So like, I know we've got about like, you know, more than 25, I think I've got about 30 volunteers. We've been with them since KKLT started. And I'm really always very thankful to them for what they bring or they have done to KKLT. The KKLT wouldn't be where it is without them. And I really appreciate them. I don't even know how I'll be able to appreciate them, I would like to appreciate them more. So what am I saying? I'm saying is that is building those meaningful connections and getting involved as well, being there and telling and sharing our stories. And as you say, maybe being vulnerable. I think that is quite important.
You've put it so well. You've put it so well. And now I want to, I think James is still part of our panel, is he?
He's gone.
Well, okay.
He's written, yes.
Yeah, I was going to throw a question to him just to involve him. And ladies, it's amazing how we talk about connections and how we've built our lives on it. And we've spoken about whether you be hurt or not, it's the purpose that you have come with. It's what you're coming with to the table. It's what you're going to take from the table. It's the human aspect of these connections. It's, how much more can I give? Yeah. But then what else? So this is to you both. What else?
Wow. I think I like Veronica's last point there.
Yes.
And I think I picked, about, the love that you have for your trustees because of the commitment that they have seen. There must be something about you and the trust that, that has kept them there. And what I usually say is that when it comes to connections or meaningful connections, it is important that we remember the branding. We are branded, the items that brand us around, our lips, lips and the tongue, being small organs out there, but can be dangerous in many ways. So really, we need to use our lips for truth. And that tends to contain people. And then, of course, we need to use our eyes for sympathy. And this is where now we see a need out there and perhaps do the best we can to attend to it or to be part of addressing it. And we also talk about our hands being of a charity. Again, what practical support do we go out there and giving? And of course, our faces should be for smiles. Yeah, when I see Veronica smiling all the time, I know exactly where she's coming from with all that. Yeah. And also, let's not forget the fact that, we'll be lying to ourselves if we go out there expecting to be accepted by everybody. No, you cannot be accepted by all. Accept the rejection when it comes and accept it with grace. Because if you live with the people, expecting them to accept the acceptance or to accept you, you die waiting for them to accept you. So really, just don't go there.
Okay. Okay. Veronica.
So for me, I know I can see we got only 9 minutes left. So I'll just wind up and say, let us connect. I think the key word here is connection. It's very important. It's the food for the whole world. We are all connected somehow. even if you live like in the farthest corner of the world and the other one lives in the farthest corner of the world, let us not forget that we are connected. We are connected with the universe. We are connected with each other. We need each other. We need our universe. We need to get along well. And even if we cannot get on along well, let live and let the other one live. So let us find a way of living this life where we get the best out of it by using ourselves to, to give the best and also to get the best, So I think I'll leave there because I'm just conscious of the time.
No problem. We've just finished our interaction session, and thank you so much, ladies. This has been an amazing conversation. It was basically a conversation between us on how connections help us, how it's impacted us. I mean, we've covered so much. If you look back, we have covered actually so much, and we're as we're still on a KKLT platform. I want to remind our viewers.
Sorry, I don't understand.
She doesn't understand. As I say, we've been on a KKLT platform, and we always want to remind people that this is a charity organization. We, as Veronica has said, we depend on all our volunteers. I am a volunteer. She's a volunteer here, and we always welcome any sort of support. If you have your talent, if you have your time, of course, if you have your treasure, which is your money, because this works on donations. So at the end of all this, we're going to play a few videos. We would want you to check out our socials, our information, and please contact us. We love it. We love it that when you get back to us, give us feedback and tell us, oh, I saw this on your video and I decided to donate, or I saw this on your video and I decided to be part of the KKLT team. We love it. We really love it, and we appreciate it. We're going to leave all our information on Facebook, which please go there. We always post things now and then. And I'm going to ask Cecily, where can people find you?
Yes, they can find me on CM Network. That is www.cmnetwork.co.uk. I also have an email that I can give, that is Cecily_Mwaniki@yahoo.co.uk. But also if you go to that is www.tulivu.co.uk.
Yeah, surely you do wear many hats, and it's amazing. I love it. I really love it. So thank you, ladies. Thank you for all those that are watching us on YouTube and on Facebook. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask Ian to play us the last video when he is ready, and then after that we can check ourselves out. And Richard, who's streaming us live, you can log us out after the video. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for being with us.
Ready? I'm gonna put it in. Oh, you took me out, it's penalty. What are you doing?
Hi, I'm John. I'm 20 years old and I live in London. I would describe myself as a handyman because I love fixing things. I'm very good with my hands and I don't mind getting dirty.
Nice car.
This might sound like a cliche, but it's not just about the looks. For me, it's what's on the inside that counts. And I've really been trying to find, the one. But I haven't had much luck lately, so it's starting to look a bit doubtful for me. Just don't know why it's so difficult. My mate Phil found his and he's gonna meet her today.
I'm Phil. I've known John for quite a while now. We both started searching for a match around the same time. My family and friends were over the moon at hearing the news. They couldn't believe I'd finally found someone. Meeting her has definitely changed my life. I feel like I've been given another chance, and I want to make the most of it. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Here's a few.
Thank you.
So great to finally meet you. Just want to thank you personally for saving my life.
I was diagnosed with leukemia a year ago. The chemo didn't work for me, nor did radiotherapy. Me and Phil ended up being in the same position, where finding a stem cell donor was our last hope. But he found his match. You might just be the one that I'm looking for. Could you be my match?
There are 30 times more white people than black people on the UK stem cell register. If you are black or mixed race, join the register today.